Hey guys, it's Deedle here. So today I want to talk about something that we do in church every week. Can you guess what it is? Well, sometimes we call it communion, sometimes it's called the Eucharist, and sometimes it's called the Lord's table, but they all are talking about the same thing. And that is when we drink wine, right there, and we eat bread, but we also say that this bread and the wine, they're the body and blood of Jesus, and that's what this represents for us today. But that's confusing. Are we eating bread, or are we eating Jesus' body? Are we drinking wine, or are we drinking his blood? Well, that's kind of odd to talk about. So how do we understand this, my friends? Well, let's take a look. Let's first, though, think about how some other Christians look at communion and the Eucharist. Sound good? Okay, so some Christians believe that Jesus is over here and the bread and the wine, they're over there. That Jesus and the bread and wine, they're separate. So when we eat the bread and we drink the wine, we're just remembering what Jesus did, but nothing special happens to the bread and wine. That's what they believe. So it's just bread, just wine, and Jesus' body and blood, they're over here. But that's not exactly what we think. But let's see what some other Christians think even. I'm going to need a hand though. Oh, hello hand. Can you help me? Good, thank you. So let's take a look. What's happening? Oh, Jesus is going over the bread and wine. That's interesting. Oh wait, the bread disappeared. And now, look at that. So some Christians believe that the bread and wine really become Jesus' body and blood. That they just look like bread and wine, but that they have changed into his real body and his real blood. So that's why Jesus is now over the bread and wine totally. See that? Like you can't even see the bread and wine anymore. But that's not exactly what we think either. We think something a little different. So hand, can you help me again? Thank you. All right, what's going to happen? Interesting, okay. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, interesting, okay. Look at that. So Jesus is a little bit under the bread and wine, and look at that. Jesus is under the bread there. So that's how we talk about it. We talk about it that Jesus, it really is his body and it really is his blood, but we are really drinking wine and eating bread. The bread and wine, they don't change. They stay bread and wine, but something special happens to them. Jesus is really in them. That's pretty cool. So this is how we can think about it. Jesus is under the bread and he's in the wine too. But of course we can't see him, it's kind of invisible, but this kind of helps us picture, doesn't it? So we can think about these circles, or we can think about this picture next time you take communion. And let's think about, though, why do we even take communion in the first place? Why did Jesus tell us to drink his blood and to eat his body? What's the point? Well, we do this because Jesus says that he has forgiven us. So all the bad things we do, when we come to Jesus and say, Jesus, I'm sorry. I want to follow you and not do these bad things anymore. I want to be more like you. Jesus says, you are forgiven. And we do that when we take communion. So we can say, Jesus, please forgive me for all these things. And Jesus says, guess what? I forgive you. And that's wonderful news. So that's why we take communion, because when we do that, we think of Jesus' promise and we believe his promise that he forgives us. And that's fantastic, because doesn't it feel good to be forgiven? It does. So I hope that's helpful. Next time you take communion, think about Jesus under and with and in the bread, and under and with and in the wine, but it still is really bread and it still is really wine. But Jesus is really there, and when you eat it, he's really in you. And he lives with you, and he wants to help you to be more like him. And that is good news, my friends. Bye.